All right, here we go. Yeah. It's a nice day today. It's a Monday.
It is.
It's a bright and sunshiny Monday. And our kids have a tournament to play today as well.
Yes.
Let's go. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. We are here right at the end of February, and we are already on show number 34. That is 34.
Good job.
Still learning? Come on. Let's go.
He's learning the numbers.
All right, so as usual, Carla and I will place a link above in case you missed the last show, which I think we did on this past Friday.
Yes, we did.
So hopefully everybody has had a great weekend and is all set for a positive week this week. All right, let's jump right in and let's get going. On today's show, we have the following. As usual, we have new member shout-outs. Come on! We have topics about Felix Auger-Aliassime, the young Canadian player, digging deep. Nice final he made. We'll get into that.
Yes.
We have the looks of the Brontosaurus-like Del Potro and his recent outing or dismissal by the hands of Mackenzie McDonald at the Delray Beach Open.
Brontosaurus, yes. Usually they call him the giraffe, but Brontosaurus was right.
More Brontosaurus
yeah.
in this outing for me. All right. Who took my Roger Federer to win the French Open bet this year? If you missed the last show, I proclaimed that I would place my first bet of this show's existence. Carla has done a couple of them and has lost miserably. So we will get in to that as well. Polyester strings and the implications thereof on a young player, or any player for that matter, or an older player. The implications of stress on the arm due to improper guidance on the use of polyester strings. We've done videos on this before as well, and I'll put a link above for one of those videos that Carla and I have done on polyester strings before. And we have other playlists on this channel. We do stringing videos, and we do fun videos, videos of the kids, and teaching videos, but we put them elsewhere. So I'll put a link above when we get into the discussion once again about polyester strings. All right. We will get into the topic of a player that we have now become very aware of, and that is Laslo Djere, Serbian player. As well, we will talk about, I think his first name is Radu Albat.
Yes, Radu Albat.
From Moldova, who as well got his initial title at the age of 29. We'll talk about Belinda Bencic, the 21-year-old that had an injury, or been injured the past year or two, or sprinkling in that past year or two, that came out with the win in Dubai.
Good for her.
We'll talk about current Dubai men's with Federer and Kachanov and Raonic as well. And we will talk about other results from Marseille, the Women's Hungarian Open, and then finish up with a quote of the day / health tip.
Yeah. We also got some matches going on too, some tournaments, Mexico Open as well.
Acapulco. Let's
yes.
go. All right, so let's jump right into the show today. First, Carla and myself want to start with new member shout-outs. Again, if you're new to this channel, I know we've had a couple new subscribers and new individuals that have made comments, respectively, in the past few days. But we always like to welcome anybody new subscribing or people that make comments to this group, because, after all, tennis is kind of a global family that we try to incorporate with all of you, and all of you with us. It's what we do. Let's go! Get down! All right, so the first new member shout-out goes to SM. Capital S, capital M. Plain Jane, there it is. SM, it is. Had a great comment, right?
I'm guessing he's a Federer fan, so you got another Federer fan.
Let's go!
He said it'll be almost, he said pretty much for Djokovic to be the GOAT, he would have to get a certain amount of titles. records and pass the 20 Grand Slam that Federer holds if Federer does not win anymore.
So welcome, SM. Where are you from? We always like to know where everyone is from. Next new member shout out or new 5K tennis discussion group member shout out goes to Leon Wong, who is in the United Kingdom and as well, from what we gather, is as well a tennis coach. So welcome and thank you very much for your comment as well.
He's got some good instructional videos and volleys and strokes, to check him out.
Great job, actually.
Yeah.
Good job there. The last two, and these are new people that have subscribed. We have yet to hear from them, but one would go to Rick Trim, and the other one would go to DS.
I love these initials.
So we got an SM and we have a DS. All right, here we go. Let's go. All right, so we're going to jump right into the thick of things, and let's get right into the match results from the Rio Open, which is in Brazil.
Yes, Rio de Janeiro.
So I know we're going to touch some on Felix Auger, or Auger. It depends on, I guess I've heard it pronounced a couple different ways, but Auger Elysium is what I come to gather is correct.
So it's Auger. Okay.
Auger, yes. And then also we'll talk about Laslo Djere, who, by the way, Srdjan Jovanovic called. Srdjan has been a long-time viewer, a long-time commenter on this channel for a very long time. Much love to you. But he called this early last week, very early on in this tournament, that Laslo Djere would win this, and ultimately he did. All right.
Is it a he? I thought it was a she the whole time.
Srdjan?
Sounds like a she.
I don't know. We need to correct that one. But either way, much love on the call.
Yes.
Let's go.
Well, the Rio Open final. Laslo it's Djere?
D-J-E-R-E. So Djere?
Because some people have it spelled differently on other sites. So
I've seen it D-E-R-E.
So it's Laslo Djere from Serbia defeated Felix Auger-Aliassime 6-3, 7-5. This 23-year-old, his first title. They were both competing for their first title. You had a 23-year-old with an 18-year-old Canadian. So he won his first ATP title. And it was great to watch this match. You know, very competitive. The Brazilian crowd was pumping the Canadian player. But, you know, at the end he lost. But this guy deserves it. The Serbian deserves it. He was ranked number 90 when he started this tournament. And Felix Auger-Aliassime was 104. Now with this win, he moves up to ranking number 37 in the world. And Felix moves up to number 44 in the world. So that's a good, you know, ranking.
A good jump for both of them.
Good, because they don't have to qualify for certain tournaments they had to qualify for, like the majors.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I think we did some research on Laslo Djere, and he had a relatively tough road and a tough story.
He did. I watched his speech at the end when they gave him the trophy. He lost both parents. He lost his mother 7 years ago, so it means he lost her while he was still a kid, and lost his father 2 months ago, both of them due to cancer. I saw his coach get really teary. You know, I was like, okay, I'm a big fan of this guy, you know. Usually I don't go for the Serbian players, but I like this guy. And I hope that he does a lot more in his tennis career.
Incredibly, Srdjan Jovanovic called this early last week. So I wasn't very familiar, and I'll say plural, we weren't very familiar with this individual. Carla and I have spoken about Felix Auger-Aliassime for about a year now, maybe a little bit more. Even though Felix lost this match, again, standing ovation to both players. Felix, at his very young age as well, I think he's, what, 18, 19?
He's 18 years old. He'll turn 19 August 8th.
So
he's got my birthday and Federer's birthday.
Yeah, so Carla...
which makes me like him even more.
Carla, Roger Federer, and Felix Auger-Aliassime share the same exact birthday, August 8th. So that's pretty interesting as well. I really like the Felix kid. I think his court conduct, the way he carries himself on the court, the way he looks, the way he acts, I think it's telltale of a future potential champion, and I mentioned this last year. Sometimes we can tell a lot about a tennis player by the way they conduct themselves on the tennis court, on, off, what happens in the locker room, how they carry themselves, how they carry their rackets in between points. And Felix, for me at his age, shows a consummate athlete and a consummate sportsman and a consummate tennis player. So look out for Felix. I'm glad that Laslo Djere won the match.
Look out for both of them.
But look out for both these guys. These
Yeah.
are both guys. Again, Carl and I think this next gen stuff is absolutely cheesy. There's
And
no
they
such
don't talk
thing.
about these guys, but these guys.
But here's a couple
look
of
better than a lot.
here's a couple of players here: Djere, respectively, and Felix Auger-Aliassime. These are two players here that aren't even involved in the next gen type speech or comment.
Right.
I get it's 250 and it's on clay, so a lot of people didn't show up, but nonetheless. These are two solid players.
But they had a bigger crowd than New York Open. I mean, it was packed. They were screaming. They were roaring. It was colorful. It was nice.
Yeah, the New York Open. We talked about that one. That one was rough.
Black.
All right, here we go. So let's move into the Delray Beach tournament in Florida, where we watched Del Potro, Mackenzie McDonald, and I think Albat won.
Albat won. Well, we were watching. Justin and I watched the Del Potro match. Juan Martín Del Potro. He lost to Mackenzie McDonald from the USA in 3 sets. Wow, this was a weird match to watch. I mean, Del Potro just looked really tired, injured. His right knee was taped up more right than the left. It was taped up a lot more than where he started the tournament. He looked so slow, which made the match really boring.
Yeah, I think there was an overall progression of the taping on, I want to say, his right knee throughout the tournament. It started with a little piece of tape, and then it kind of morphed into a bigger setup, and then ultimately an even bigger one. Theatrical, maybe, whatever. But all I know one thing is that for Del Potro's entire career, we have seen him look, laboring throughout matches. We have seen him always kind of huff and puff and hunch over and dive for balls and fall. There's nothing new about this, and that's why I think that he has gained such a sympathetic tennis following in terms of fans. And I love Del Potro, I do. But watching him and his normal kind of laborious, slow-moving, giraffe-ish like is what we like to call it. That's just Del Potro, and I have seen him down 2-1 at Federer at the U.S. Open, and ultimately come back and win, laboring the same way throughout the match. So some of it I think is crowd bought-in theatrics. On this match, though,
he looked injured.
He looked like he was injured.
He looked injured.
From the way that he presented himself on the court, the limping, and not even trying for certain balls, I don't know if I guess I would have retired. I've never retired.
I'm sure he didn't want to retire because it's a 250 also, and he wants to give the crowd their worth, for paying for this ticket. But good for Mackenzie McDonald. At the end, he celebrated by throwing his racket, which hit him right in the head. I mean, to all the young players out there, there's no need to throw a racket. I mean, celebrate maybe by throwing yourself back like some of the players do, or rip your shirt off like
Don't
Djokovic.
do that. No, disagree with you on that one.
I'm just saying there are other ways of celebrating. Look, that could have been a really bad accident for him.
It could have. The kid, Mackenzie McDonald, beat Del Potro. At the end of the match, he threw his racket on the ground. The racket comes up, almost hits him right in the face, bouncing real quickly off the ground, and it clipped his hat and took his hat off. Luckily, it wasn't his face, which probably would have caused stitches and more. I get why he did it, though.
Yeah, he was excited. He
just beat a U.S. Open champion.
Yeah, good for him, but unfortunately for him on the next round, he got bageled twice. He won the first set 6-3 against Radud Albat, but then lost 6-0, 6-0.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure what happened.
I'm not sure what happened there. We missed this match. We saw the scores as they progressed. It was the 3-6 first set. And then he was double bageled 0-0. I'm curious, and maybe someone else knows, was he injured? Did the heat get him? I don't think it was terribly hot. But I'm curious why it went from a decisive first set or a one-break set win to a double bagel the other way.
Okay, well, Radud from Albat, 29 years old, from Moldova, defeated Daniel Evans from Great Britain in 3 sets. Evans had 3 match points and could not capitalize. Good for this young man. I mean, he's still young. His first ATP title. There is no one in his country playing professional tennis, nor have ATP points. I mean, it's a small country next to Romania and Ukraine. Many of us haven't heard about it, but good for this guy. I mean, he said I watched his interview, and he said he always had a goal for himself. First, he said he would make the top 200, then the 150, then the 100. And then the top 50, which he's so close to reaching.
Let's go! Yes. It's a great win for him. Great win for him and for his country, Moldova, which I think is somewhere in the Ukraine.
Yeah, it's between Romania and Ukraine.
Romania and Ukraine area. So, yeah, a tough part of the world, and even tougher to get to this point of any sport when there's not a lot of that where you are. So great job.
Great, Matt, and good for Daniel Evans, who now will creep into the 105s. So good for him.
Let's go. And don't forget that Evans, the British player, also was off. He was off the tour for a while for some personal life stuff. So good job for both of these guys.
And the Bryan brothers won their doubles open from USA, defeated two other brothers, Neil and Ken Skupski from United Kingdom.
Great job.
Good job for Bob Bryan coming back from injury, and they win a title.
Two sets of brothers.
Fifth Delray Beach Open for them.
Great, great. And for another set of brothers, though?
That's awesome. What does that tell you? That siblings can play tennis. They can make it in the Pro Tour.
I guess, well, we have 5 kids, but 2 of our oldest boys play doubles with one another, and sometimes they play great. The only times they don't.
They're getting better.
The only times when they don't is when they, get in that brotherly kind of, the brotherly kind of sibling rivalry on court, and then it kind of falls apart. But nonetheless, they do pretty well. All right, so moving on. Next segment is going to be this. Who took my Roger Federer winning the French Open bet? Now, let me kind of reiterate why I made this bet in the first place. Carla and I, we always like to make fun bets throughout the year as we do these shows. For instance, Carla made a bet last year that Djokovic would not win the U.S. Open. And she promised that if he did win the U.S. Open, that she would paint herself up with "I love Djokovic" Nole t-shirts, the face paint, the whole bit. If he did, and he did, so she lost. So she and I'll put a link above actually, so people can understand what we're even talking about. So I'll put a link above of the video where Carla dressed up in "I love Djokovic" t-shirts, sleeveless shirt, so she could have it painted on her arms, etc. So I'll put that above, but. In terms of this bet, I made a bet that Roger Federer would win the French Open, and if he did so, and someone wanted to bet against me, then whoever bet with me would have to do something, I'm not saying hilarious or anything crazy, but something along the lines of what Carla did. Now, Carla usually does these bets where she just says, I'll do it, and then if it doesn't happen, then I'll pay the price for it.
Right.
I always believe if you're going to bet, then if I win, then great. Then someone else needs to pay the other price going the other way. So it's not that I think Roger Federer is going to win the French Open, but I think somebody out there would be naive to think that he doesn't have a chance. Hence my bet. I bet that Roger Federer would win the French Open, and if he does not, as long as someone bets against me, then I will do something humiliating on this show, during this show, the entire show, just like Carla did last time if you look at the link that I put above a minute ago. So I had someone bet this. The betting, or the co-bettor is Anis Zizou. Okay, Anis Zizou. He has bet to do something equally humiliating, and we are still going to figure out what it's going to be and how it's going to transpire. If I have to hold up Carla's cell phone and you're on like live chat or some type of live feed where you guys are talking right here, we can show him this way. If he loses, then he needs to be doing something. And then if I'm losing, of course, I'll be right here. Okay. But we'll figure it out. So let's talk about this. But again, it's not
very gutsy, Dustin.
It's not that I think Roger Federer's going to win it, but I would love to see if someone has the guts to be equally as confident that he won't.
He does. He's obviously confident from what I read.
So what will we do? Do we live chat? You guys start commenting on this. If Federer wins it, how does Anis Zizou present himself on this show? Live feed, Google chat, live messenger, whatever you do, and you can just hold it this way on a computer screen so it's bigger. Maybe we can do that, but whatever. And then if I lose, what am I going to do? If Federer doesn't win it, what am I going to do? All right, here we go. Next topic is polyester strings, the tension of these strings, and why it is so important to know at least about polyester strings, the tensions, and how it relates to your body. Carla and myself have done 3 videos, and I mentioned this in the introduction, on this topic before, and it's on our stringing playlist involving our youngest, again, 5 kids. They're all tennis players, even the 3-year-old, but our middle 2 and our 2 oldest sons use polyester strings, but we hybrid them with other strings going on crosses, mains, whatever, and we drop the tensions a lot. So this topic actually comes as Carla and myself spoke with Ivor Savage, respectively, as we do often, that owns YTEX Strings, and as well Brad Cranford, who is a teaching pro that has been a staunch voice in polyester strings and doesn't dislike them, but wants to educate people in them to add longevity to their bodies in this sport that we play, which is a lifelong sport.
Right.
So I'm going to say that in the past, say, year or two, again, I'm 41 and have played the game since I was very young and trained still to this day pretty hard about it daily. Carla does the same. I have noticed, and I'm going to use myself, so I'm not speaking for anybody, but at 41, still very strong up top, I have noticed in the past, say, 5 years, that when I string my own frames, full polyester beds, and I keep the tension up 55 to 60 pounds, that I begin to feel arm discomfort in the days after, if not on court the same day that I'm playing that way. Do you agree? Have you felt the same?
I've been lucky not to feel it. So, no, I have not. I used to play with very high tension when I was training, you know, and playing a lot of tournaments when I was 18. I haven't felt the pain yet, but I'm sure, I do believe them. I mean, I'm sure I'll feel it eventually, but I think you string my rackets pretty low right now.
Well, the only reason I asked Carla is I knew how she would respond, and I'm going to pick on her for a second. Carla has never really kind of dove off into the stringing world kind of in depth. She got into stringing maybe the past 4 or 5 years. I've strung for a large part of my life, if not 30 of the 40 years. Mm-hmm. Over the years, it would be almost a commonplace question. I'm talking pre-internet days, pre-computer days, a commonplace question from customers or other people that I would string rackets for. Hey, I just tried this new polyester string. It seems as if maybe my arm's a little sore, but this was kind of like modern medicine to the Indians. You know, I mean, no one really put the two and two together. I'm talking 30 years ago, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. As time progressed, we have had scientific study. We have had physicians study it. You name the levels of study that have gone on here, and it's not currently up for debate really anymore about the risk of high tension with polyester strings. It's pretty much factual. So within the past, say, year or two, I have started to drop my own tension down to the upper 40s into the lower 50s. Now, Brad Cranford made an interesting point on a lot of rackets. They have a string tension range. Mm-hmm. And he had an idea that maybe some of the larger racket distributors or brands, or if not all of them, if the racket is restringable, that we put a specified non-poly mm-hmm. tension range that's good and which will remain, I guess, beneficial for the user's arm. Yeah, and then potentially another label, as we look on the inside of the throats of the rackets, right. It'll tell you tension range. And maybe another label that will indicate what is recommended from the polyester side of it. Now again, I have been in the past, say, 30 years in numerous debates about this very topic. And early on, young, strong, in the gym every day, hundreds of push-ups every day, working out, I kind of chose to ignore the topic, but as I've aged and talked with people and now read studies and now have coaches such as Ivor Savage and Brad Cranford, both PTR respectively rated mm-hmm. coaches, that are so engulfed in the longevity of tennis players from a health perspective that they have taken upon themselves to try to be voices to help people, not to slander anybody that makes a string or the type thereof, but to try to help people play the game longer. Okay. So the videos that I put above are basically this same type of question involving my own kids and whether anyone else would recommend kids our age using polyester strings at what tension and should we hybrid them, right? So what is everybody else's thoughts? What are everybody else's thoughts, by the way? Would you recommend using full beds of polyester strings still at higher tensions? Let's say the racket's rated 50 to 60 pounds. Are you going to string it at 60? Or are you going to drop it to 50 and then you're worried about, well, will this racket even perform correctly, when you can drop it even lower than the recommended tension and still be quite comfortable there? But again, what are your thoughts? Let's talk about it. I know what Ivor Savage and YTEX are trying to do, and the Cranfords, the Brad Cranfords respectively. They're trying to help. And furthermore, Ivor in his business has actually tried to personalize stringing with new customers receiving even phone calls, type of game that they play, and try to assist customers and people on the health of their bodies and the longevity in the game, right? Anyway, what are your thoughts? Comment below. Check out the videos that we've done before on polyester strings and their tensions. And again, I have started to feel some of the discomfort before. She said she has not, but she is a very strong girl. It's not something very common, and again, she may be one of the outliers of the truth here.
There's a few people that don't.
All right, so let's go to the Dubai women's. Belinda Bencic won in Dubai.
Yeah, she won against Petra Kvitova, number 2 seed from Czech Republic, in 3 sets. She moves up in ranking to number 23.
Deservedly so. She beat some good people.
She beats them, but she on her way there, she beats Rina Sabalenka, Simona Halep, and Alina Svitolina.
Woo!
So good for this girl. She was injured, and this is a good title for her.
Yeah, maybe
at 21.
Maybe Svitolina had some condolences from Monfils after that.
Oh, she's fine. I saw a video of them hitting together.
Let's
They're fine.
go. Let's
They're
go.
fine.
Good job for Bencic here. She's had some injuries in the past year or so and has been off for a while, but good steamroll through that crowd of elite women's players.
Definitely.
All right, so we just watched Federer, by the way, beat Philip Kohlschreiber in Dubai in 3 sets. I think it was Federer won the first 6-3, lost the second. No, he won the first set 6-4, lost the second 6-3, and then I think took the third one decisively at 6-1. Kohlschreiber, bro, he broke a racket. I don't get why. He still won the second set, the same set he broke the racket in, but I don't think I've ever seen Kohlschreiber break a racket.
He's a little frustrated. That's all right. He behaves good. He usually behaves good.
You guys know I don't like racket smashing. Who needs it? But come on, Kohlschreiber, you broke a racket. Has he done that before?
No.
Are you sure?
No. Well, Federer is going to face Fernando Verdasco in the next round.
Federer will own that. I think the only competition that Federer had in this tournament was Khachanov, Raonic. They both lost.
Well, Khachanov lost to Bashvili from Georgia, 6-4, 6-1.
That's a great match. I'm surprised they matched up Bashvili and him the first.
Well, Karen Kachanov's onto a bad start.
Yeah, he's had a rough start. You know,
Yep.
she always picks these future #1 players in the world.
I don't know what's
She
going
picked
on.
Dolgopolov
Anyways,
a while
but we
ago.
watched
She
another
picked
match
Shapovalov a while ago.
before the show
She
ends.
picked Khachanov a while ago.
And I also picked Tsitsipas, who won his 2nd title.
Last year.
Well, Milos Raonic from Canada lost today in 3 sets to Jan Lenarstrup from Germany. Last point, he hit a overhead right into the net.
It happens.
It was like right next to him too.
It happens. I have nailed 1 million overheads in my life into the net. It happens just on match point. That hurts.
Yeah. Matches to watch here. Kei Nishikori from Japan against Benoit Paire. Good match. Borna Koric, number 60, your guy.
Let's go.
Keeps losing. Mikhail Kukushkin from Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, yeah.
And number 3 seed Chilik. Marie Chilik against Gael Monfils from France.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Come on.
And we got Acapulco where Nadal is playing. You've got players like Nick Kyrgios playing, David Ferrer.
Isn't Nadal playing there?
Yeah, Francis Tiafoe. You got Stan Wawrinka. And, Bernard Tomic withdrew due to heat.
Oh, yeah,
He said it was too hot. He said it was too hot.
I didn't have this written in. How are you going to be from Australia?
He said it was too hot.
And pull out of a tournament because of extreme heat. What is that?
He's like too hot.
He's from one of the hottest countries on the planet, arguably.
Yeah, too hot. I don't know.
And you pull out of a match from extreme heat. You know what I call that? Extreme pansiness.
Yeah. Also, watch the women's. There's Victoria Azarenka playing Danielle Collins from the USA, and Sloane Stephens is playing this
You
tournament.
don't talk so much smack about Leighton Hewitt, and I'm going to beat you up if you're within 3 feet of me, and oh, man, I'm such a tough guard.
But it was too hot.
And then I pull out of the tournament because it's too hot.
Nah.
Whatever. All right, moving forward, ending the show. Health tip of the day. This relates to stringing and our topic earlier in the show about the implications of polyester strings at high tensions. Number 1, protect your body. Always protect your body no matter what. Number 2, know your body and respect it. Learn about what you're hitting with. If you're learning tennis or you're an advanced player and you want to stay at that level forever, or highest level as you can forever, know a little bit about what you're using. Anything in life. Know a little bit about the gear or the food or the products that you have. All right? For me, again, I reiterate that sometimes when I play at high tensions of polyester strings, my shoulder will give me some issues the next day, but that didn't start until my 40s. But again, that doesn't mean anything. It can start anytime, anywhere. I wish my knee, though, I could relate to being an issue due to some polyester tennis shoes, but sometimes injuries happen, and we try our best to get through them. By the way, Brad Cranford, I love your idea about putting a label inside the tennis racket, like all of our rackets have, about desired or recommended string tensions for different types of strings. And I'm sure Ivor Savage, that has YTEX Strings, would agree with that as well. Quote of the day. Quote of the day comes from Helen Keller. So I'm going to read this quote. I came across this today and I liked it a lot. When one door of happiness closes, another opens. But often we look so long at the closed door that we do not see the one which has been opened for us.
Well, I live by this rule. I don't look in the past. I look to the future. There's always a reason for everything.
Moral of the story, especially from someone like Helen Keller that overcame so much. I mean, you're talking an extreme thing to overcome on multiple levels. Don't dwell too much on the past. Keep looking forward. Keep an open mind when moving forward. And if anything negative happens in your past, keep an open mind. Stay objective. Look for that door that opens, because it seems like for you and me, how many trials and tribulations we've been through, and we've always seemed to find a bright day at the end of every day,
sure,
right?
Definitely.
Never pass up opportunities. Smile. Stay positive. Life can be really, really difficult. Things can come out and punch you right in the gut when you least expect it. But again, this quote from Helen Keller just reminds me to don't dwell on that punch in the gut, and keep your eyes open for any opportunity moving forward. All right, so that's it, everyone. Click like below, subscribe below, share our videos. All of our videos are available on our channel here on various playlists, from stringing to the kids, etc. And there's links to all of our other communication platforms below as well. So have a great day, have a great week, and we'll see you on Wednesday or Thursday. And as Carla always says,
Adios.
Let's go!
Good luck, Alma Bryant.